In the end, I did find someone in the office of the bursars who was very friendly to me, very helpful, and they made an agreement with me to take the financial hold off of my account for 1 day so that I could register for classes. My schedule would be set and I would be going to classes, I would be enrolled. They did that for me just because my paperwork was turned in, and the only thing holding me back was the fact that they could not review it in time. These worksheets are, piles thick, and when you throw yours in there, it goes to the bottom of the pile, and it takes them a long time to sort through this, and it has to change hands so many times. It's just a long, complicated process. So once you're in that situation, it's very hard to get out of, but there are ways to get around it.
Find out as much as you can about all of your options before jumping to conclusions and thinking that you're going to have to drop out of school because you don't have money.
You gotta talk to people. You gotta go down there and find the right people. Don't deal with them only in emails, because they're way too overloaded and you'll never be able to get anything done. It took me an entire day to register for classes, and my problems went beyond the financial aid department because at that time you would have to go to these other colleges that make up Drexel University to register for classes individually. And then each time I went to them, I had to clear it with the financial aid department. And every time I went back, they're like, wait, you're on hold, and then I had to explain my situation to them again. No, my hold's being withdrawn for this day so I can register, and this is why, because this paperwork's in the pipeline, and it was held up because I didn't get my notification, because I'm in the verification program, and it was just a big nightmare.
So I had completely given up hope at that point. I was like, oh great, I can't go back to school because Drexel hates me, and I called up my parents and was like, guys, I have really bad news. I don't have money and can't go to school because I don't have money. And then my dad is like this 6'5" big guy. He's just like, I'm going to go to that financial aid office and give them a firm talking to. I'm like, oh, okay, Dad, that sounds great. Just don't hurt anyone or anything.
Cause a lot of noise, find the people with the most mahogany in their offices, in short, the people who know the system, who understand the loopholes and how the red tape works, and are able to work with you and work around these obstructions that the system has right now.
It actually worked out really, really well. Having my parents come in is what changed financial aid's opinion of everything, apparently. Because, I guess it makes sense. Parents pay colleges, colleges want to make parents happy. So, when my parents came in and did the whole sad thing, like, if she graduates, she'll be the first person in our family to go to college. Please give her money. We want our daughter to have an education in the future. They're just like, okay. We do have Perkins loan funding. Do you want a $5,000 loan? I'm like, yes, I've been here every single day for the past 6 months. I do want a $5,000 loan. Please give it to me. I actually still needed extra money, so I had to drop my housing. And they say all freshmen are required to live on campus, so they never said you can drop your housing. If you are in financial need, there can be arrangements made and you can drop your extremely expensive $15,000 a year housing at Drexel. You can get rid of that and find a studio apartment for $300 a month. And it will work. I really wish that I had figured it out beforehand, because they told me this a day before I had to get all of my stuff out of the dorms, because we were right about to go on winter break, and if my stuff was there over winter break and when I came back, they would charge me for winter housing. And I obviously couldn't do that. Cue the violins for this part, by the way. I ran into my dorm and was just like, roommate, I love you. We can't be roommates anymore. Goodbye, my friend. And then just like grabbed all of my stuff, put it in the minivan, and then spent 6 hours running between residential housing, financial aid, bursar's office, financial aid again, residential housing again, and then the minivan to continue the sad, rainy drive out of Philadelphia.
From what I've seen, if you talk to enough people and you make a big enough wave and you dig deep enough, eventually you'll find someone who'll be able to work with your situation. They are very good about that.
That was all before I made housing arrangements for the winter, so I was homeless at that point, pretty much, if I were to continue going to school. And luckily, I have a really sweet boyfriend who lives in Philadelphia, and he let me crash at his place. Not everybody has that, so you don't want to get yourself in this situation where you don't know what's going on.
What my situation is now, they originally gave me that 2-week deadline, and then maybe another 3-week continuance. That was not the case. I'm still on financial hold, and I talk to them all the time, so it's really a testament to how long it takes and how difficult it is to actually get yourself out of financial hold.
Do not get in a financial hold, because you will go through hell to drop that financial hold. It's ridiculous what you have to go through. You have to pay them everything you owe up front. It takes 2 weeks for checks to clear or something like that. So just don't get yourself in that situation.
That was the beginning of the term. We are in week 8, I think, of the term. I am still on financial hold. That same financial hold they put on my account after I registered for classes. And it's not like I haven't been pursuing it. I've been down there, every week talking to them. I've been in contact with them, emails. They've been working on the papers.
To make agreements, figure things out. And to make the agreements, you have so many options, one of which that I found to be the best was higher education services.
So that's still what I'm dealing with right now. There are still papers missing that I didn't know about, and I don't think they knew about it until they went through, because it changes hands so many times.
With higher education services, they put you on a payment plan, and they are really forgiving. If you stick to the payment plan, it's 10 months, just pay them 1/10 of your bill every month, until they will pay Drexel everything you owe up front to keep you in classes and keep you happy.
I have to redo my FAFSA, for the 3rd time, and every time you redo it, it's always contact information is wrong, and you have to go back to Drexel and tell them, look, this is still my contact information, and all kinds of things. And even though I have come a long way to resolving my problems, and in the eyes of a lot of the people there, my problems are basically resolved, they're still not at that point where you can get the okay, clear, everything's good and done, and we can take your financial hold off of your accounts. That is in itself is a very rare thing to hear. It takes a lot of work to get to that point. And unfortunately, I fell into the trap. I fell behind.
You have your Drexel One account. Check it religiously. Every day, every other day. It takes 2 seconds to click the check my e-bill tab and make sure that it's still a really nice 0. Because it takes a while for them to send out the email saying there's been a change to your financial aid, and you don't want to wait too long or you'll be put in a hole.
I'll be okay, but I'm still gonna have trouble registering for classes in my next term. Because of stuff that went downhill, 10 weeks ago. And that's just the nature of the beast, and it's mostly the system.
It is really expensive because the housing is mandatory, the tuition just went up, it's kind of absurd. And you really do need financial aid to be there for you if you're going to make it through the year.
And for me, when it came to dealing with financial aid, what I learned very early on was you're going to have to do it yourself.
Just know that you can get a scholarship for doing pretty much anything. They have ROTC, academics, athletics. If you do theater, band, if you sing in front of people, they will give you thousands of dollars.
It's going to require a lot of legwork on your part. It's going to require a lot of talking to people, a lot of, not begging, but a lot of crafty maneuvering. And
I understand that there's a lot of work. You have to keep singing for the entire year, but they will give you money, and that is how you should go about going to Drexel.
Eventually you'll get it done, but it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of legwork, but it will definitely behoove you to find the right people, the people with the power.
And finally, just make sure you have all of your options open to you. Talk to the right people, learn as much as you can about everything, and don't assume that you're going to have to drop out of school. You could drop your housing, you could get a Perkins loan maybe, you could qualify for certain things, and even if you don't get any money from your financial aid appeal, there are still doors open to you, and you shouldn't give up hope.